Week 3 might be the best week of the season so far. Undefeated in Stage 3, the Los Angeles Valiant have a tough road ahead as they clash with their crosstown rival LA Gladiators.
Will it be shields up or will it be wings out?
And the Stage 1 champion Spitfire.
London Spitfire, Stage 1 champions.
And a former Valiant player faces his former team with shields up.
If I don't beat them, I think it's a career-crushing loss.
We break down the red-hot Boston Uprising.
They will defeat the New York Excelsior.
Can they continue to reach new heights? The New York XL looked vulnerable in Week 2.
New York Excelsior right now, they are really in a bit of a pickle.
Can they get back to dominating against some tough opponents? And WPPV TV is live on the air for a Week 3 forecast.
No main tank with just 3 letters in his name is going to put any fear into our squad.
This is Watchpoint.
That's one handsome cowboy. Welcome, everybody. It's Esports Watchpoint. I'm Puckett. We got Monty Doa and Mr. X wearing a sweet jacket today.
I have a phenomenal jacket on. I wear this jacket quite often. I have a great collection of hoodies and jackets. I just happened to pull this one out today.
If you're in the woods, I might not be able to find you.
Yeah, this is my when I go hunting in the off season.
I like it.
What do you hunt for?
I don't know.
Okay.
Let's get into the video.
I assume people who hunt wear jackets like this.
He hunts for noobs on the ladder at the
Yeah, exactly. See, Monty bailed me out. Monty bailed me out.
Thank you, Monty. Well done.
Monty, don't leave me hanging.
Stretch for it. All right, let's get into Week 3 with our stage standings. Now, the Valiant and the Uprising remain undefeated, but it's Los Angeles with a comfortable map differential lead right now. Now, the New York XL are currently in 3rd place, and all of the top 3 teams have some tough tests this week. So let's start at the top. On Wednesday, the Valiant will face the Gladiators in the 3rd installment in the Battle of LA. They will then face a tough London Spitfire squad, a squad that really needs some wins this week. But in that Gladiators match, Doa, let's start there. Which DPS duo has the edge?
I mean, I think if you're taking it down to duos, it's hard to say anyone other than Soon and Bunny have the top spot for that one. I mean, these guys are so good in a meta where we do see a lot of Widow Tracer. They can run the Tracer Sombra as well. It works. They have got agilities if they need to bring in the Genji. Now, don't get me wrong. Gladiators has some great supports, and it's kind of funny that we've got Silk Thread on the other side that I wouldn't be surprised if they put him in for a map or 2 against his former team, but just in numbers, in terms of what these guys bring to the roster, the scariness factor, which is important, it's gonna be Soon and Bunny for sure.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see Bunny playing against a support line that's as good as Shaz and Big Goose, because the Valiant schedule has been soft so far, and Bunny has been able to absolutely destroy enemy backlines, oftentimes 1-on-2. He needs to keep that performance up if we're going to see him do well and the Valiant to take this match.
He's like a one-clip wonder, man. Bunny always in that backline picking up them headshots. All right, let's keep moving this one ahead. The next matchup for the Valiant is going to be against the Spitfire. So, Mr. Rex, let's talk about this. How can the Valiant gain an edge over a struggling London?
Well, they have space. They can easily do it with their off tank. He has been absolutely unbelievable coming into the Overwatch League. You know, he has to turn 18, right? He's sitting on the sidelines for a while, but once he comes in, I mean, he has taken the league by storm. Just look at some of these numbers in terms of off tank. Obviously leads them, I know both London off tanks, Fury and Wuyal, in terms of hero damage per 10 minutes. He's also leading the league in eliminations per 10 minutes and final blows for 10 minutes. Space has been a big difference maker for the Valiant.
But it's also the intangibles. When we have Costa and Space coming in, it's really about how now we see them come up with plans, adapt faster in the game, look more decisive. Old Valiant, wait till overtime, all in, maybe you outskill your opponents. New Valiant, make intelligent strategic decisions and not push everything to the last possible second. And it's Space and Costa have picked up on the shot call.
Yeah, I agree.
Taking their way to victory. I like it. It's working out. Now, if you think the Valiant have it rough, let's check out the Uprisings week. This one, not so pretty. They also get a win-starved London Spitfire squad on Thursday, and then they have back-to-back days against top 3 teams who need wins, as they'll be facing off against Seoul Dynasty in their second match. So, Mr. Rex, on Friday, we're going to see that big matchup, but what is the biggest question mark for the Uprising right now?
I think it's, can mistakes continue to play at this high a level? Obviously, losing Dreamcast will hurt a lot, but I think mistakes has been a very big player for this team thus far. Stepping in on short notice, we saw him a little bit in Stage 2 on Hollywood. He would come in and play some Sombra and some Junkrat, but leading right now in pretty much every Sombra category. The Genji out of him, pretty surprising. A lot of people knew him as just a hit scan player coming into Overwatch League. If he can keep up his high level of play and just play those long-range hit scan heroes at a high level, Boston's still going to be a very difficult team for people to deal with.
I like that. Boston is on fire right now. Mistakes impressing everybody. Looking first at the Spitfire matchup, Doa, what advantage could the Uprising have in this matchup?
Well, I think the obvious advantage is that they've got a very stable roster right now where there's not going to be a lot of changing. Now, London, on the other hand, there's been a lot of changing going on with these guys. We've got a stat for you there. There's a win rate based on kind of maps played, going from left to right there. So you can look at all the percentages for wins. And so the thing is what began as sort of those two separate rosters that kind of dissolved a bit when they traded Rascal away has now become sort of a Mitch and Matt, or not a Mitch and Matt game, a mix and match game. There you go. Sure. I got it. I nailed it. Now, Hagafin, in an interview with at OverwatchLeague.com, by the way, was saying that they really want to, going forward, mix things up a lot more, try a lot of different things strategically. They felt that they had been kind of figured out in stage number 2, which I think we did see. So I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna field, but I think that Boston has a little bit of an edge, and that they don't have to worry about that kind of thing.
All right, that's their first matchup. Let's talk about their second one. So, Monty, how should Boston prepare for the Dynasty after the match against the Spitfire?
I think it can change because we've seen a lot of different lineups from Seoul right now. But for the most part, I think it has to go back to diving the back line. And fortunately for Boston, they are a very good team at diving. But towards the end of last stage, we saw the supports Jaehong and Toby dying first in a lot of these fights. They're now mixing it up. Sometimes we see Jaehong and Gambler right now. But the strategy remains the same, and this is how Boston was so successful against the New York Excelsior. Keep doing what you're good at.
And I mean, if mistakes can play Fleta even in terms of the Widow battle, I like my chances with Striker in the Seoul backline with the way he has played throughout Overwatch League. I think it's a definitely winnable match for Boston.
Can I ask you a quick question on the Fire, Monty? Who's the best player on Boston Uprising right now?
Gamsu.
Gamsu, I like that answer. All right, rounding out our gauntlet schedule for the top 3 teams this stage, the New York XL will face the team they defeated to win the Stage 2 championship. That, of course, is the Philadelphia Fusion. That matchup happens on Thursday. Then on Saturday, they get the Gladiators, who have the same stage record as the NYXL and are just 3 maps behind in differential. So, Monty, who does the map pool favor in that New York versus Philly rematch?
New York. Definitely, and definitively, I think, unfortunately, well, we might have seen that 5-map series in their last meetup in the stage finals. If we actually dig in and take a look right here, New York, of course, with Pine on Ilios, 90% win rate, and Junkertown is a huge skew in favor of the NYXL. So Philly, they're going to have to pick up a win on a map that they have an under 50% win rate, as well as taking Anubis, which they're tied on with New York, if they want to send it to that Game 5. I think this is a huge uphill battle. I also think that New York has a big bone to pick. Their coach, Wizard Young, was saying they weren't prepared for Philadelphia in the stage playoffs, didn't prepare for them at all. That's why it went to 5 games. That's why they had to adjust at halftime and take that reverse sweep. I think the coaches want to make a statement here that they are not going to be taken to Game 5 again.
Matt, you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with Monty. I think if they do win one Philadelphia and force it to a Game 5, it's probably Ilios. And Ilios was in the map pool before. They weren't playing EQO in the lineup. So I think now with EQO, you can do some different things than you could have done previously. And I think even the same things, but just at a little bit of a higher level.
Well, one thing we know about Philadelphia, they're the most clutch team in the league when it comes to those Game 5s. And if Philly do have a shot, it will be in big part to Carpe. Mr. XL, how will the New York XL deal with the current league MVP, in my opinion, Mr. Carpe?
Yo, it's going to be tough. I mean, not many teams have been able to deal with Carpe. And it's interesting. It's like, you know what he's going to do. He's going to play Widowmaker. And then if he doesn't work on Widowmaker, most likely going to go to McCree. Teams are not even be able to stop him at Widowmaker. I mean, his Widowmaker, he's just been able to go off. But I think one way NYXL can do it to bring in the big boss. We've seen so far when he has been in Stage 3, he's been very good on Widowmaker. I think he's a Widowmaker player who can play up to par with Carpe.
And also, they put him in against Houston, and he was dominating some of those later maps against Linkser. And by the way, just so you have some context, over 19% critical hit accuracy is very, very good for a Widowmaker player. So I agree. I think Pine's the right way to go.
It means you're hitting headshots, basically constantly. Pine, best player to watch in the league, if you're asking me. But Doa, we saw the NYXL lose one match and go to 5 maps in week 2. So let's talk about week 3. Are teams starting to figure this squad out?
I don't know. I don't think so. Because the thing is that when New York lost to Boston, I think that was a New York Excelsior that was not taking Boston super seriously. They had just lost Dreamcasper. They weren't expecting Mistakes to be as amazing as he was. I don't think New York is going to make that same mistake twice. I think from now on, they're going to win it.
For me, I think New York is still running comps they were running in Stage 1, and just always keep in the back of your mind the crazy things we've seen from Libero in the past. We haven't seen anything close to that yet from New York. I think they're saving a lot of stuff that they know they're pretty good in terms of overall playoff race. They're probably working up strats looking forward, like way in advance right now.
Yeah, and one of the things we complimented New York on throughout Stage 2 was them tailoring strats to their opponents. In the last 2 weeks, so since the start of Stage 3, they've been running cookie-cutter strats on a lot of these maps and not really preparing for their opponents. And what that says to me is this is a time of rest for New York. They don't want to burn their players out before the playoffs actually happen, and they have a huge lead. They have a huge lead.
Even then, don't give these teams footage that they can go back of and learn from, right? And they can be like, oh, yeah, we see what they're doing differently than other teams, right? If you just kind of play the standard of what everybody's doing now and you know in the back of your mind what you're going to go to at the end, it's a good strat.
New York, I like it a lot. All right, it's a huge week of matchups for a lot of the teams, including the Dallas Fuel. And as we know, the Fuel parted ways with Rascal and their head coach Kai Kai on Sunday. We'll see how interim coach Peak gets the team ready for the Shock and the Outlaws this week. And we know one player he'll definitely need to rely on is their new shot caller, OGE.
오버워치 리그에 오기 전에 불과 한 1년 전쯤에 콤박스라는 팀에서 활동을 했었는데 그 달라스펠 쪽에서 연락이 와서 테스트 형식을 가진 다음에 이제 이렇게 좋게 기회가 돼서 오게 되었습니다.
The Fuel struggling to string these wins together.
We know OGE is a player they're looking forward to bringing on.
여러 가지 사건들로 인해서 저의 지금 달라스 팀에 오고 싶지 않거나 그런 것은 없고 그냥
Because they have a big new addition.
OGE is his name and he will be on stage today.
이제 안 좋은 팀을 좋은 팀으로 바꾸는 그런 것을 원해가지고 이렇게 선택하게 됐어요.
I'm already excited. It just started. OGE's just dominating. 4 final blows for this man.
Nice. okay, Kim, listen. I think next fight we use his speed, me and Uncle use it, okay?
Okay, yeah. We have to stay together.
형 조심해. 형 터지는 거 조심해.
Maybe we can push right together.
지금 상황은 이제 저희 팀이 지금 프랑스 선수 2명, 태국 선수 1명. 일단은 모든 것을 영어로 최대한 쓰려고 노력하고 있고 지금 현재
Better space from OGE. Get back in your seat, Mickey. OGE's coming to win. He's going to be slapping people around all day.
리더라는 것은 일단 어떻게 우리가 싸우고 우리가
And OGE running wild here will take down yet another.
뭐 우리 팀이 다운돼 있거나 이제 우리 팀이 체크 못하는 것들을 최대한 신경을 써가면서 제가 와서 이제 그 역할을 맡으면서
OGE has taken matters into his own tribal hands.
일단 최대한 성장을 해서 마무리를 잘 하면서 이제 저희 팀이 좀 부활했으면 하는 그런 목표를 가지고 있습니다.
OGE is still getting comfortable in the Overwatch League, but he has been dealing a ton of damage with that Winston. OGE goes head-to-head with Super and the San Francisco Shock on Wednesday. When you guys are home, Six Stack, we're talking about getting your friends together and playing Overwatch together, right? But here on Watchpoint, it's a 6-stack of important questions. And we'll start with the drama for the Dallas Fuel.
My favorite!
Yes! Taimu has been in and out of the Dallas lineup and recently said on his personal stream, I think right now I don't have a place in this team. I don't think I have a place in Dallas Fuel. He goes on to say, sure, my Widow and McCree, when they're on, they're much better than anybody else's in the team, even if people disagree. It's true. Monty, with the new coach coming in, what do you think Taimu's role will be and should be moving forward?
I just like how he has to qualify his own opinion, trying to acknowledge that people disagree. The semantics of that aside, I think he does actually have a place in this roster. I liked them bringing him out on Ilios last week.
Totally.
He is a player that, like Pine, can be an X factor. He plays aggressively. He plays very instinctively a lot of the time. So I want to see him more when he can play the Widow and McCree in conjunction with Effect. It's a good map pool for it, so go ahead and run him, I think.
No Rascal, more time for Mr. Timing. I like that. All right, question number 2. Muma has been a mainstay at Houston's tank, but we saw the Outlaws rotate between Muma and Fact Fiction last week, so let's take a look at the numbers for the 2 lime green Winstons. Houston went 2-1 in maps with Fact Fiction and just 2-5 with Muma. So Mr. X, should Fact Fiction take over the main tank role for the Outlaws?
No, I don't think so. I think I like what they're doing with the split. They're getting Fact Fiction some time. I think maybe, as we move on in Overwatch League, if there's a map set that favors Reinhardt a little bit heavier, you see Fact Fiction get a ton of play. But I think Muma has been tremendous up until this point. I mean, the numbers for Stage 3 thus far, it's only a small sample size and, some tough opponents that they've gone up against. But I think you still ride with Muma as the main tank, but you definitely get Fact Fiction some play.
Especially on Volskaya. All right, number 3 of our 6 stack. The Dragons haven't won yet, but they look better thanks in part to some strong play from Otto. His Genji ranked 6th in final blows and Dragon Blade efficiency last week. So Doa, have you been impressed at all by Otto's Genji so far?
I mean, I think the first thing to consider is that Shanghai has gone from no Genji to Genji. So that's a step up right away. I mean, having a Genji player is pretty nice if you're an Overwatch League team. Otto had an admirable start. I think he did pretty well. Is he one of the top Genjis in the league right now? I don't know if I'd say that, but I think he's good for Shanghai, and I think he's going to continue to kind of bring a new sort of DPS level to that team that they really, really need.
Lukewarm adoration from Doa.
I like that. That was terrible. At number 4, we have the Shock, who continue to be hot and cold. They have a strong DPS group, though, with Sinatra, Dante, Architect, and the Great Baby Bay. So, Monty, are San Francisco using their DPS rotation to its fullest potential?
No. San Francisco Shock are shock blocking themselves by using their great projectile player, Architect, to be a pretend lesser version of Dante on the Sombra. So I didn't really like how they played him in his debut. However, I think down the line when they figure out that rotation, let Architect be Architect. Don't make Architect be the shadow of Dante. Dante's a phenomenal Sombra player, so just use these players for what they're strong for, not like we saw against the Valiant last week.
Just use Dante all the time. Come on, guys. All right, number 5, Boston's roster is back up to 10 after signing healer AimGod, who previously played for the Korean contenders team Metabellum. The Uprising now have 5 supports. So, Doa, was this the right spot to add depth for your team when you just have 3 tanks and 2 DPS?
Doa's type of roster.
I know, right? I mean, it's an interesting thing to think about, right? Because, I mean, if you look at this Boston roster, arguably, out of the roles on the team, the support role is the weakest, despite having a lot of different support players on that one. So, signing AimGod may sort of fix that. He was known as Jeff from the Ardent team in the OPC, which his team actually did win. And I talked to Avril and Pixie, the casters down there out of New Zealand that casted that tournament, and they said his English is actually pretty good too. So I think based on that, based on the fact that we know he is a good support player with results elsewhere in the world, I think he could work in that role at Boston. Otherwise, you never know. Maybe they're going to move him to a different role. We've seen flex supports take on DPS roles in the past, so it's going to be interesting to wait and see with that.
With a name like AimGod, better be moving over to DPS.
You'd think so, right?
That's right. All right, The 6th and final question in the stack. The Valiant signed flex tank Izayaki, who played under the name Need on NC Fox's back in Overwatch Contenders Korea. That caps their roster now to 12 players. So, Mr. X, let's give the final grade for the Valiant. How do you feel about their overhauled roster?
Right now, I'll say it's a B+. I want to see how they go through the rest of Stage 3, but I think to be able to turn around this roster, from what seemed like a volatile situation and not go the way of Dallas Fuel, where it kind of spiraled out of control, and really, take a lot of these parts, put them together, bring in some new ones, have some players that you signed earlier, turn 18, put them in the lineup. I think they've done a really nice job of turning it around, and then also picking up another 6 players who they can groom into, whether it's a sister team or some substitutes down the line.
All right, we're going to get a chance to see that fully loaded Valiant roster in action on Wednesday against the Gladiators. Now, one big storyline in this matchup will be Silk Thread facing his old team, which brings some new intrigue to the battle for Los Angeles.
It all starts with the battle for LA. The Valiant taking on the Gladiators.
Valiant will win the battle for Los Angeles in a 3-2 reverse sweep.
Wow.
The Gladiators take back the crown of LA for now.
The last battle I played didn't go so well. We lost 4-0, but me and Kessel both weren't playing, so
that's the solution.
Yeah, we have a better chance.
Easy for it.
Last time these two teams played, it was a great match. This crowd is on fire.
I'm very, very excited. I love a lot of people on that team, but I don't love you enough to let you beat me in a match.
We are going to be seeing Silkfred, and he is a recent addition from Valiant, and he's going to be adding a bit of that extra firepower.
Silkfred now's going to go in with the Dragonblade. He's already got himself two.
Their style is very similar to us. There's like agilities for hydration. We have Asher, and then they have Bunny now.
Bunny with an enormous pulse bomb takes down 3.
We've been playing better, and they're sort of going on the downhill, so hopefully we're looking to take advantage of that.
It's time to get into the game. Will it be shields up or will it be wings out? There's a big line in the sand that divides Los Angeles right now.
If I don't beat them, I think it's a career-crushing loss.
Yeah, I can't be losing to the Ninja Turtles, you know?
The Gladiators, they got something, but they won't beat the Valiant.
It's my first battle of LA, but easy clap. So.
I suggest they get their bed because they're gonna be laying down by the end of the match. That's what's happening.
I know you guys like to put your shields up, but that doesn't help you when we got wings. We could fly right over you guys.
Is sure to be an absolute rip snorter.
Good evening. Welcome to WPPV Eyewitness News. I'm Eric Lonnquist.
And I'm Christopher Michaels, and here's what's happening this week. Our top story in week 3, can the Shanghai Dragons defeat the Seoul Dynasty? Just kidding. It's the battle for Los Angeles. This is the final installment of the Gladiators versus Valiant trilogy, Return of the Threat Eye. All eyes will be on the Gladiators' flex DPS Silkthread as he faces the team that benched him for all of Stage 2, then traded him to their crosstown rival. During the match, authorities will be on the lookout for Hydration Man, the Gladiators fan who recklessly guzzled 3 gallons of water to make his costume, causing a significant disturbance to fellow fans by making an alleged 26 bathroom trips during the team's last match.
A crude oil spill by the Dallas field continues to be a major distraction for the league this evening. This ongoing hazard culminated Sunday when the firing of head coach Kai Kai caused a major explosion, spewing chunks of burning drama all over the league. First responders are hoping OGE and the return of Taimu can stop the blaze before it reaches critical mass. Fans of the fuel are instructed to hunker down and wait for next season while cleanup efforts get underway. Local FEMA director Mike Hastro-Rufael has been criticized for his response to the crisis. This is the latest in a series of non-game-related issues facing the fuel this season.
Another big match in week 3 pits the San Francisco Shock and their new main tank Super against his hometown squad, the Philadelphia Fusion.
Let's check the strategy forecast for Route 66 with our mapologist Mitch Leslie.
Yes, thank you very much, fellas. Well, conditions for the Shock's defense should start rather calm on Route 66 on Friday. Sunny, Super, and Sleepy camped on top of Big Earls, with light pockets of Moth's Mercy breezing in from the east. We'll see some Cumulus Tracers and Divas lingering just behind the cliff here, hoping for winds to send them to the Fusion backline. Architect Sombra will bring some light health pack hack showers to the south. Later, though, a powerful system will move in when the spawn doors open for the Fusion's attack, bringing hurricane force gusts of Fraggy and Poco downpours straight towards Big Earls. Temperatures will drop and we'll get some crisp Snillo blinks, attacking Sombra to the south as well. By mid-attack, this brutal Neptuno and Boombox cold front will pocket Carpe's Widow, blasting to the east with deadly and icy snipes. These will be some nasty conditions, so rug yourselves up, Shock fans. This should spell victory for the Fusion. Back to you guys.
Great stuff, Mitch. That's Emmy material.
It was okay, I guess. Elsewhere in Overwatch League, the second battle for Texas takes place this Saturday. It's the second meeting between the Dallas Fuel and the Houston Outlaws. The Outlaws took the first match 4-0 in Stage 1, but a lot has changed for both teams since then. For more on this matchup, let's get things out to our boots on the ground in Houston, Matt Morello.
Thank you, guys. The Houston Outlaws only have one win here in Stage 3, and they're actually behind the Dallas Fuel in the stage standings currently. So things are a bit tense here in Houston. Let's see how the locals are reacting and bring in longtime Outlaws fan Jesse. Jesse, you've been a fan of this team since day number 1. Do you think the Outlaws can get it done against the Fuel?
Well, normally I'd say them Fuelers are uglier than a burnt boot. But right now, they're playing pretty darn good. It's a bit surprising, but my Outlaws, you know, it's stage 3. We started off so good. We beat them Spitfires, but we've lost 3 straight. So I'm a little nervous.
But now do you think that OGE can give the Outlaws some trouble, the new main tank of the Dallas Fuel?
No main tank with just 3 letters in his name is going to put any fear into our squad. You got AKM, OGE. Not enough letters in your name, if you ask me. You need sweet names like Raucous or Boink on your squad.
Okay, and I have to ask, do you have a prediction for this match?
Hell yeah, I do, Mr. X. That's right. They got the Jake right. He's going to be ripping them tires. We're winning this one 3-1. Yeehaw, Outlaws.
You heard it here from Jesse first here in Houston. It's going to be 3-1 in favor of the Outlaws this weekend. From Houston, I'm Matt Morello, WPPV News.
Excellent reporting, Matthew. Thank you.
Tonight, we want to leave you with something a little more lighthearted. The Overwatch League may be heating up, but we just also have adorable puppies in Overwatch costumes,
They are
Eric.
quite adorable. That one's got freaky green eyes, though. I'm a little bit scared.
It's okay. You don't need to be scared. There's no harm here. Just some classic fun with lovely animals.
Classic fun. Dressing your dog up as characters playing Capture the Flag, just like they did in the good old days.
Still less chaotic than CompCube. Well, that about does it for WPPV News. Enjoy your week 3. Good night.
Gambler, the newest addition to this team.
This guy is known for his shot calling. He's known to have sort of this mathematical precision.
네, 제가 에이펙스에서 뛰었을 때는 LW 블루라는 팀에 있었고 그때도 똑같이 메인 힐러를 맡고 있었습니다. 제가 서울 다이너스티에 들어오게 된 계기는 선수 생활을 시고했을 때 뱅강진 감독님이 서울 다이너스티에 들어오지 않겠냐는 제안을 해주셨고 저는 테스트를 보고 그 다음에 합격을 해서 들어오게 됐습니다.
Keep your eyes on Gambler if you're a fan today.
His Lucio was always one of his most impressive roles.
Here we go.
제가 처음에 팀에 들어왔을 때는 시즌 중반에 들어왔다 보니까 아무래도 팀 합이 이미 맞춰져 있었어요. 근데 저는 메인 오더 자리다 보니까 제가 오더의 중심이 돼야 하는 역할을 해야 됐었고 제가 들어가면은 아예 팀 합이 처음부터 되돌아가는 상황이었는데
우리가 내가 생각을 해보니까 한 명 죽었다고 뺄 필요가 없는 것 같아요. 우리 방금 같은 상황에서.
서울 다이너스티에서 팀에 도움을 줄 수 있는 부분은 여러 가지가 있겠지만 그 중에서도 제가 제일 잘하는 메르시로 팀에 도움을 준 것 같습니다.
Gambler, man, he has been Johnny on the spot with the rest.
유영 선수한테 배운 점은 즐겁게 게임하는 걸 배운 것 같습니다. 근데 그 루시우를 제일 잘하는 플레이어가 토비 선수라고 생각을 하고 그 토비 선수의 영상을 많이 보면서 배우고 있어요.
Gambler's going big. Found himself 2 kills in the last couple of seconds. Great effort from Soul. Little bro in the front row, definitely happy about that one.
오버워치 리그를 처음 맞잖아요, 제가. 근데 에이펙스랑 좀 다른 게 오버워치 리그는 뭔가 팬과 선수가 같이 어울리는 그런 게 좀 신기했어요. 입장할 때도 뭐 하이파이브 하면서 입장하는 것도 그렇고 그래서 그게 좀 감명 깊었던 것 같아요.
But a cheeky resurrect from Gambler comes in. Soul will weather the storm.
이번에 오버워치 리그의 개인적인 목표는 리그 우승이고요. 당연히 그에 맞춰서 열심히 노력해 보도록 하겠습니다.
We're likely to see Gambler on Wednesday against the Shanghai Dragons, and we've also got the Fuel versus the Shock and that much anticipated Valiant versus Gladiators matchup. That kicks off one of the best weeks of matchups we've had all season. And with that, it's time for predictions. Monty here, he's got a 3-point advantage over Mr. X and Doa. So let's see who our analysts have on Wednesday and Thursday. Everyone thinks the Battle for LA 3 will go the Valiant's way, and shocker, they all like the Dynasty over the wingless Shanghai Dragons. But Doa and Mr. X are going to look to inch closer to Monty's points lead by taking the Shock over the Dallas Fuel. Monty, defend your Dallas pick against Mr. X in a 30-second showdown.
Me and Doa are closing the gap. It's currently at 3. It's dropping down to 2 with this match. It's a lock.
Look, I had to pick this before all of the drama with Kai.
So did I. I had to pick it as well.
Oh, come on.
I had to pick it as well.
I'm not at all confident in this pick, but this is before Rascal and Kai were booted from the team.
Yeah.
We'll see if they're able to pull this out. I think that with their upward trajectory recently, before this happened, that might have changed things. Now I'm not so confident at all.
Hold on a second. You can't be like, I picked Dallas, but I was really shocked by that drama. I didn't see that coming.
I like it. Monty, don't worry. You got an advantage. They need some help anyway. Let's move on to Thursday. All 3 of you guys have Houston Outlaws over the Florida Mayhem, as well as the NYXL taking out the Fusion in a Stage 2 championship rematch. But Mr. X is riding a hot hand and going with Boston over London. So X, defend your Uprising pick against the beautiful Doa in this 30-second face-off.
London still seems to be experimenting with their team right now, and I think Boston, they're the hottest team in the league. I think you see the way that Gamsu and Striker are playing, they're going to give London a lot of trouble. Where does London struggle at times? With their supports, whether it's Hagapun and Closer, Badoshin and Nuss. I think Striker and Gamsu are going to be big for Boston. They're going to be able to win this match.
You might be right.
Is that you?
No, you might be right.
All you're gonna say?
It's possible.
Come on, Noah.
I think London has been kind of like retooling the golf swing a little bit. I think they've been trying some things that they know make it easier for them to lose. But we'll get them more wins in the future. Maybe
the time when you had it there, Joe.
Tiger Woods retooled his golf swing and never got it back. So you never know if they're going to be able to get their golf swing.
I'm not confident on that.
We're closing out the show with the sad Monty. He picked Dallas. Can they get you the win anyway, Monty? We're going to find out this week. That does it for MLG's Watchpoint. Check out Week 3 beginning on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on OverwatchLeague.com and the Overwatch League app. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.